Welcome to Patrick Talks Teaching. As described in the first video, 21st century classrooms are quite complicated. All types of programming, whether it be regular, modified, English language learning, and a variety of adaptations, must be integrated into every lesson and every unit so as to meet the needs of the diverse children that are being taught. This diversity needs to be a primary consideration when creating units. Well, welcome to your classroom of 30 students. Now let's make it a little bit more 21st century here and change things up a bit. Among these students, we have strengths and challenges in every type of learning and multiple intelligence. To save the teacher the exhausting task of creating many separate programs or activities to accommodate the diverse needs in the classroom, we need to create inclusive units and lessons. These inclusive units respect the needs of all children in the classroom and allow every student to participate in the learning of the same topic, but at their own level of understanding and ability. This is the value of Universal Design for Learning, or UDL. UDL is an educational framework where we proactively create units and lessons where the needs of all students are considered within a flexible learning environment. The roots of UDL stem from architecture, where the goal is to design accessible buildings rather than having to restructure and add on necessities once a problem or inconsistency is noticed. Let's carefully consider how inclusive units can be created for the classroom. The starting point for any unit plan is to have big ideas that guide the way to a summative goal. Let's begin with the curriculum. If we consider any curriculum for any grade level, in any subject area, we immediately notice that there are many outcomes. Teaching to all of these outcomes individually fails to recognize the main purpose or goal in exploring this particular unit. So what we need to do is group these outcomes together and generate 2, 3, or perhaps a maximum of 4 big ideas. As long as these big ideas consider every outcome, then we can now focus on teaching to the big ideas. Consequently, these big ideas together pave the way to the ultimate goal of this unit. As a random example, let's look at grade 9 science, the unit on reproduction. The easiest way to generate big ideas is to literally cut out the outcomes and group them together into a few piles. Somewhere inside each pile is the big idea. Either take one important outcome verbatim as your big idea or tweak it slightly so that it encompasses all outcomes in its pile. After cutting and grouping the outcomes in this example unit, I am drawn to the process of reproduction as one big idea, genetics as another, and human intervention or biotechnology as a third. From one pile, here's an outcome that screams big idea to me. It states, compare sexual and asexual reproduction in terms of their advantages and disadvantages for plants and animal species. Might use it exactly like this or tweak it slightly so it includes a broader scope and appreciates several more outcomes, such as what we've written here. Let's tweak it to say, examines types of reproduction in plants and animals. Notice that this is a statement that can be answered at many different levels of understanding. This is such an important step towards creating a UDL unit. Now once we have our 2 to 4 big ideas, we need to ask ourselves what these big ideas are guiding the learner towards as the ultimate goal. For this unit, perhaps the goal is recognizing that reproduction, whether an organism's big or small, passes on genetic information from the parent to the offspring. Or maybe it is suggesting that reproduction can be natural or unnatural should human intervention be involved. Now as a quick aside, it is important to keep in mind that our goals are really about broad concepts like language learning, themes in literature, financial literacy, and human events. Shakespeare, a novel, or a math unit on salaries and wages are tools for helping us to work towards achieving these goals. Well done us! We have a goal for the students to work towards. This goal can be turned into a focus question for the entirety of the unit and subsequent assessments. For our example, we can ask, what is the purpose of reproduction? Why do organisms reproduce? These open-ended questions pave the way for a summative inquiry project at the end of the unit, which is something worth discussing in a future video. Big ideas are essential when developing unit plans. These big ideas become the outcomes that all students explore. English language learners can focus on developing vocabulary related to these big ideas. Students who receive modified programming will explore these big ideas, but in less detail. We can also find equivalent outcomes from earlier grades, especially now that we've narrowed our scope from a large number of outcomes to only a couple of big ideas. Now as for those questions we created, if we word them appropriately, every student in the classroom, regardless of the programming, will be able to answer those questions by the end of the unit to the level of their ability. Now this is just the beginning of your unit plan, but notice how much easier it is to focus on a couple big ideas rather than all those outcomes. Let these big ideas be a good place to start when it comes to developing units for all the students in your classroom. Until next time, thank you very much.